In a world defined by turbulence and transformation, one voice has emerged with striking clarity and conscience, Representative Ro Khanna of California. As the camera glides through archival footage of anti-war marches, press briefings, and scenes of global unrest, the narrator speaks with a tone both contemplative and compelling, weaving a story of identity lost and a bold effort to reclaim it. The Democratic Party, once the bastion of anti-war sentiment, the party that stood in fierce opposition to the Vietnam conflict, the Iraq invasion, and the excesses of unchecked militarism, now stands at a crossroads. Over the past 2 decades, a series of bipartisan policies have led the United States into entanglements across the Middle East, Central Asia, and Eastern Europe. Wars declared in the name of security, yet often yielding chaos, displacement, and devastation. The narrator guides us through this journey not with condemnation, but with a sense of historical reckoning, setting the stage for Ro Khanna's urgent plea that Democrats must once again become the party of peace. As images shift to Khanna speaking at town halls, in committee hearings, and on major news platforms, the narrator's voice deepens, infusing Khanna's words with resonance. This isn't just a political pivot, it is, the narrator explains, a moral revival. Khanna is not demanding passivity, he's demanding precision, principle, and responsibility in how America projects power. Military intervention, he argues, must never again be the reflexive answer. The nation must prioritize diplomacy, invest in humanitarian solutions, and reject the industrial inertia of the war economy. As charts flash across the screen, trillions spent, lives lost, regions destabilized, the narrator poses a haunting question to the audience. What have we gained, and at what cost? The tone then becomes introspective. The narrator reflects on the shift in public opinion. How a generation born in the shadows of 9/11 now questions the very premise of American interventionism. Young progressives, veterans, libertarians, and human rights advocates are coalescing around a shared idea that endless war is not only unsustainable, it is unjust. Khanna's message, the narrator continues, gives voice to this emerging consensus. And it is not merely about ending wars. It is about rebuilding trust. Trust in a government that serves its people at home as vigorously as it claims to defend them abroad. The narrator speaks slowly, deliberately, as if inviting the viewer to sit with this idea, to challenge their assumptions, and to imagine a different foreign policy future. As the screen transitions to scenes of bombed cities, refugee camps, and solemn faces, the narrator does not shy away from the brutal consequences of conflict. There is a measured sorrow in their voice, a recognition of the trauma inflicted not only on the victims abroad but on the soul of a nation that has grown numb to war. Yet, the tone never sinks into despair. It rises instead with hope. Khanna, they remind us, is not alone. There is a growing coalition of lawmakers, activists, scholars, and everyday Americans who believe that strength is not found in domination but in restraint, that leadership means choosing peace when war tempts applause. The final act of the narration is urgent and galvanizing. The narrator's voice grows stronger, fueled by conviction. This is a crossroads, they say. The U.S. can continue down a path of militarized foreign policy, expanding defense budgets, arming authoritarian regimes, deepening global divisions, or it can choose a path guided by diplomacy, multilateralism, and a commitment to human dignity. Khanna's challenge is not only to his party but to the conscience of the entire nation. The narrator calls on viewers to reject the cynicism that says war is inevitable, to question narratives that glorify might without reflection, and to support leaders who dare to imagine a world less reliant on violence. And in the final moments, as the music swells and images fade into a montage of peaceful protests, humanitarian efforts, and faces of those who dream of better, the narrator offers a final plea. Not in anger, but in earnest sincerity. If we are to honor the values we claim to hold, democracy, justice, liberty, then we must be brave enough to lead with them, not just speak of them. Ro Khanna's call to reclaim the anti-war identity is not a return to the past. It is a bold step toward a more conscious, compassionate future. The time for that future, the narrator declares, is now.